What day? It's day 51, right? Is it? I think I said it was day 50 yesterday. What did I say? It was day 49 yesterday. No, it was day 50 because I started that thing. I started that 30-day thing. Okay. Talking to yourself. That's just what you do on the way to work. Which is weird. Hi, and thanks for tuning in. This is the Learn with John Eick podcast, and it's day 50 on my 100. Rewind. Hey, it's day 51 on my 180-day drive to work. I love it. Oh, it is. It's day 51, and I'm 51 years old. There's something magic about that. All right, I'm sipping out of one of my favorite cups. Maybe I'll tell you that story sometime. I'm rolling into work on day 51. It's a Thursday. You know how I feel about Thursdays. It's good. Lots of good stuff going on today. It's like Friday Eve. You know, I'm rapping for like 30 days on like what makes a school not suck, what makes us, what makes an organization feel like family, what makes you want to like be loyal to an organization, what creates like change receptivity and openness to like, being part of organizational, evolution. As an organization grows over time, it's going to change, it's going to evolve, but often there's so much resistance to that change. And in part, in real talk, because often change is managed so poorly, right? Somebody comes back from a conference, they're like, I went to a conference, I know just enough to screw up everybody's life. Here we go. You're like, so like I don't know if I'm riffing on change management so much as I'm riffing on like how do you create like this organizational culture, this vibe that people are like, man, I dig this place, I wouldn't want to leave this place. Look, I work in a great place, I work with people that I think are amazing, and I wouldn't want to leave that place. I got offers and people saying, hey, what about this, what about that? And I look around, I'm like, oh, it's so hard to leave. I just got so many good people here. As I asked a couple people the other day, like, hey, what makes this organization like good for you? How's this organization a good fit for you? It's the people that keep coming up. I'm like, well, what about the people? Like, oh, people are so helpful. People want to help one another out. Well, how do you create that? How do you create this climate, this culture where people are like, really gelling with one another, like legitimately collaborating with one another, not because they're being told to collaborate with one another. Like, oh, I got to go to this stupid collaboration meeting, blah, follow all these protocols, blah, 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 blah. But like legitimately, like, oh, I can't wait to jam with my colleague because my colleague is somebody that I trust and love and feels like family to me. How do you do that, So I don't know, over the next 30 days, dropping some nuggets. I saw this little article posted by John Martinez, and it tickled my brain basket. I think I gave it a little retweet and I read it. How do you greet people? Do you say like, hello, good morning? Or do you say like, hey, good to see you? Or do you say like, hi, how are you? There's this phrase, Sawubona, in the Zulu culture in Africa, that is a greeting. It's a traditional greeting. It's like hello, right? We say hello. We don't know what hello means. Like, you define hello. It's a greeting. Okay, cool. Unpack that. I don't know. Typically, I couple hello with some other stuff. Hi, how you doing? Hello, how are you? And often we put the onus on someone else to tell us how they're doing so that we can acknowledge like how they exist in the universe, right? Hello, how are you? I wait, and you go, oh my gosh, I'm having a really hard day. And I go, oh my goodness, tell me more about that hardness in your day so that I can empathize and make you feel okay about the world. Putting the onus on the other person to tell you how they are so that then you can engage in like seeing them or seeing how they're existing, put some onus on them. So what actually tends to happen, right, is you go, hey, how you doing? And go, fine. How are you? Fine. And nobody's really listening to the answer. It's really just more of a greeting, which I guess is fine. Like, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. It's okay. But like this phrase, this greeting, Sawubona, in the Zulu culture actually means I see you. Like, I see that you exist. I see how you exist. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate that you exist. That's a different way of like greeting somebody. It is saying like, I think I know something about the way in which you exist, and I see it, and I appreciate and acknowledge it. It's not saying, how are you? Tell me how you are. I'll respond to how you say you are. Instead, I'm saying, hey, no, I get it. I know who you are because I watch you and I care about you, that you mean something special to me, and I can appreciate where you're at in the universe as we coexist in this place during this greeting. Oh, I love this idea because like you're talking about like an organizational culture that makes people feel seen. That's important. I think that is part of being part of a family. Like, you know what it's like to be part of a family where you're like, trying to like act like everything's good, but your brother or your mom or your sister, your uncle, you got that person in your family who sees right through all the bull, right? Like they see through it, and they're like, how you doing? You're like, I'm fine. They're like, no, bull, tell me legit. I know, I've been watching you. I see you. What's going on? And you're like, oh, I'm so glad that Uncle so-and-so like sees me. I feel seen. I feel like somebody in this universe kind of gets me. That's what family's about. Well, how do you create an organizational culture that feels like that? Where people feel greeted with, rather than the obligatory, like, how are you doing? I'm fine. Okay, moving on. Let's go to collaboration now. Like, how do you make sure that people feel seen? I just gave a little head nod to the dude holding the slow sign in the construction zone, and he gave me a head nod back. Like that was the universal, like, bro, I see you. How do you create an organization where people really see one another? I think, it's not natural. It's not like this thing that people inherently do, at least maybe culturally in our American, I'm in America, I'm in California. I don't know that it's like a natural cultural piece to be like walking around, I see you and I appreciate in the manner in which you exist. I don't know that we're gonna change people's language in that way. So like, what constructs within an organization make people feel seen? I did a podcast not too long ago. I think it was, who was it? Bill Knight was rapping on like, what's important in this moment post-pandemic between teachers and administrative leaders, and it was like, make sure that you're making sure teachers are feeling seen as competent. Hey, I see you as a competent, educated, credentialed, powerful, impactful, creative, hardworking individual. Like, I see you and the way in which you exist in this organization, and I grant you the being seen, right? I say, hey man, I see you. I see the manner in which you exist, and I appreciate you. That, Bill Knight says, is what's needed in the industry today, and I couldn't agree more. And this topic of like, how do you make an organizational culture, a place that nobody wants to leave because it feels like family, because I trust the people around me? There's this thing about being seen. There's this thing about being like, acknowledged for the place in which you exist, whether that's, I almost said positive or negative, but really what I want to say is like, whether that's like, joyful or like you're in a sad space, and that's okay. Like, acknowledging where people are at. Well, how do you do that? Okay, like, great advice, John. I'm gonna walk around and say to people, I see you, and people will be like, yeah, of course you do. I'm not invisible. I mean, like, how do you do it? Well, I think it kind of goes back to that riff from yesterday a little bit, in that is that like, you gotta slow down and create space to share stories with one another. Just one little nugget, like in my organization anyway, and I'm not saying it's perfect. Look, if the only examples I got are from my organization, we're gonna run out of topics pretty quick, because we're just one little shop amongst many. But the way in which you set up that dynamic between the administrator and the teacher is critical. Like if the only time the administrator is in a classroom is during the formal observation, just don't do it. Like, just Xerox copy the one from last year, phone it in, and let's get it done. Like, if that's the only time we're seeing each other, well, that's just ludicrous, because the affective filters go up, the pressure's high, it's like freak out mode. Like, I think that people need to see each other and acknowledge each other often, right? And so, like, every meeting in our organization starts with celebrations, and I'll riff on celebrations one day, I'm sure. But like the act of celebrating is really the act of like seeing somebody, acknowledging somebody, saying, hey, just before we start this meeting, I'm gonna give a little shout out to somebody who's not even in the room. I saw Bob yesterday just killing it with his kids at this one thing. They were dissecting squid in the classroom, and this kid was kind of freaked out, but then Bob got down to the kid's level and walked him through it, and it felt great. And wait, good job, Mr. Smith, right? Now Bob's, Mr. Smith's not even in the room for the celebration, but somebody in that room is now charged with, at some point, next person to see Mr. Smith says, hey dude, I was in a meeting earlier this week, and John Eick was, we're all doing celebrations, and John dropped this like, he celebrated you because, I don't know, this thing you did with a squid and the kid and all the thing. Well, then Bob's like, got it, I'm not in the room, and somebody was talking about how they saw me in a positive, competent light. Like, that makes me feel like I am seen in this organization, right? That's just one of many ways to make sure that people are feeling seen. But like, I think it's the act of like saying, how do we know that the word is getting back to people that they are feeling seen. Another way is like, look, in my organization, we have a scheduled 6-week check-in. You might hear that and be like, oh my God, that sucks. I wouldn't want to have to do that. Like, rather than just saying, look, and the admin and the teacher are going to meet for the pre-observation, the formal observation, the post-observation, you're like, that sucks. Like, I get you have to kind of do that, but like, if that's the only time you're getting together, that is going to be a tense relationship at best. So every 6 weeks, we schedule a 15, minute just kind of jam sesh. Hopefully you've been seeing each other a bunch during those 6 weeks. But at the 6-week check-in, if you are talking about, if you're trying to make somebody a better anything, a better teacher, a better yard duty, a better admin, because you're having this 6-week check-in, you are blowing it. Like, what you should be doing every 6 weeks during this designated time is just being like, hey man, let me see you. Where are you at? Like, let's talk. Let's get to know one another. What's going on, so that I can really see you. So that way, the next time I see you in the hallway, or the next time I am celebrating you, or the next time I'm understanding a position that you're in, I understand the context for that position that you're in. We need to see one another, and we can't just do that like, by walking past each other in the halls. We need to spend time and create space to understand one another's stories, and that context then allows us to see through the bull, right? When someone goes, how you doing? Fine. Are you? I'm just checking in, because legit, I think I know better. At this point, I'm seeing and I know your story, and then people feel seen. That's what family is. And if you want your organization to feel like family, then I think these little practices, iterate you, in that direction. Is it a one-size-fits-all? Nope. Is it a, silver bullet? Nope. But like, I think, layer upon layer, death by paper cut, one little thing at a time, you can stack up little marbles in the jar that make people feel seen and heard and appreciated and feel connected and feel like they're part of the family that is doing the work that is being done at your school and in your organization. All right, that's it. That's my riff today, man. I appreciate you. Hey, I see you, man. You know what? I see all those cats out there on the TikToks leaving little comments and the YouTube. I got some DMs on the Twitters. I see you and I appreciate you for giving me the feedback. Hey, if you got a nugget that like makes an organization better, a little nugget that makes people never want to leave the place they are, drop me that nugget on a comment, a tweet, an email, a text message, whatevs. Drop me your comment. I'd love to riff on it here in these next 30 days from day 50 to day 80. All right, I hope your Thursday's amazing. Hope your day 51's rocking it. I'm heading off to school. I'm doing a morning lineup this morning. I'm gonna grab the mic and get to lead the Pledge of Allegiance for like 1,000 kids. It's the best. All right. Thanks for tuning in. My name is John Eick. You can find me on Twitters at John_Eick. We'll catch you next time. All right. Thank you, Mr. Rowe, for working the crossing guard there. Oh, there's a lot of people here. There's a person on a bike. Do not rear end anybody here. Oh, man, that's a good parking spot right there. This guy. Oh, man, you won today. That's the parking spot right there. You won the day.
It's because we had cross-country practice.
Ah!
So that's why I'm heading back over to the other campus.
I love it. See, it was good jamming with you yesterday. Thank you.
What's that?
It was good jamming with you yesterday. Thank you for that little jam with Meredith and Jeanette. I love that. I love those kind of conversations, man. That organic moment of like, what are we all doing? I love it. So thanks, man.
No, man, thanks for being part of it. I learned so much from those two and you as well.
The whole,
Great to hear you both.
Yeah, right back at you.
Join back
No.